Hello everyone and welcome to episode 14. I'm Gabe, and today we'll be meeting some new Pokemon along the arid Route 7. But first, in the last episode, you arrived in Tri-Town and defeated the Team Arc Grunts who had locked up all the researchers. After freeing Abigail, the Bug-type head researcher, you were able to challenge her and defeat her to attain your 4th access code. The gate to the north is still locked to you, so you set your sights on the head researcher to the south. This is Route 7. The gentle grasslands of Route 6 have faded into barren scrublands and desert. The Pokemon here are hardy and resilient. You observe Simirage, Slothomp, and Rynosear, along with a new species of Pokemon that's running across the desert dunes. You feel as though you've seen it before. Yes, Primal Form time. We don't have many first stage fossil Pokemon left, and today we'll be tackling Cranidos. This line is based on Pachycephalosaurus, but there have been some discoveries and theories since the original design came out. The biggest one that I want to play off is that young members of this head-butting family did not start off life with their big bulbous heads. Instead, their heads started off much flatter with sharper horns, only to become rounded domes as the animal developed. This process of changing appearance is quite common amongst dinosaurs, and it is likely that some similar but smaller species are actually just juveniles with drastically different skull shapes. And that's a long, rambly way for me to say that Lil Cranidos is getting a head shape similar to a juvenile Pachycephalosaurus or a Draco Rex. Other than flattening the head, repositioning the horns, and tweaking the color palette a little bit, there wasn't much else that I needed to do for this design. It will start out as a pure steel type, and will be adding a secondary typing when it evolves. Be sure to let me know your guesses as to what that secondary type may be. Anyway, here is Primal Cranidos, the Headbutt Pokemon. This correctly restored fossil Pokemon has a flat skull. Primal Cranidos are able to color their hard metallic skull with bright chemicals under their skin. They prefer to warn off predators, but will resort to delivering a powerful headbutt if provoked. Its ability is Iron Barbs, and so that's when this Pokemon is hit by a contact move, the attacker loses some HP, because he's got those little spikes on him. You watch the Primal Cranidos run along the dusty dunes while playfully knocking their flat heads together. The heat is really starting to get to you, but luckily, you spot a small oasis ahead. The lush vegetation that has sprung up around it seems very out of place, and you see a little Pokemon shuffling around in the water. You actually wonder if this oasis and the Pokemon are a mirage because it is truly bizarre looking. Yes, we're going to get super weird with this one. This design is based on one of the most perplexing Cambrian fossils, Hallucigenia. Paleontologists initially weren't certain which way was up and which way was forward on this animal. It seemed to be a random assortment of spikes and noodly appendages. It was initially and incorrectly reconstructed so that it shimmied around on long spiky legs, and that's the body plan that will be the basis of this design. Things will get flipped around when it evolves, but for now, this little derpy Pokemon has spike legs and waving curly tubes on its back. Now, Hallucigenia got its name because it was just so strange that it looked like a hallucination. And we're gonna run with that to get our typing. I figured that a combination of the poison and psychic types best represented the name. It took me a bit of time playing with the colors, eventually landing on something similar to the Slowpoke line, though tweaked slightly. And with that, I give you Halusip, the confusing Pokemon. Fossils from this perplexing Pokemon have been known for years, but its biology still remained a mystery. Advances in the Palean region have allowed Halusip to be restored successfully. But its complete appearance is still quite strange. This Pokémon scurries about in shallow waters, walking forwards and backwards with little preference. And its ability is Poison Point, so contact moves with the Pokémon may poison the attacker. Halusip scoot around in the water, smiling up at you with goofy blank expressions. You continue through the desert heat until you come across Professor Ginkgo, resting under a solitary palm tree.
Here, take some water and let me heal up your Pokémon. Always good to see your advancement. I'm meeting with some researchers ahead. We're going to figure out what needs to be done about Team Arc. Some of us think we need to get them off this nature preserve right away. Maybe you could help with that. But of course, let's see how you and your Pokémon are faring.
Ginkgo challenges you to a Pokémon battle. She leads with her starter as always, which you have learned how to counter by now. She uses Primal Omastar next, followed by a Cortulli. Lastly, she brings out Little Rynosear's evolution. Yes, our little grass rhino Pokémon is going to take on some of the characteristics of a woolly rhinoceros. The little bit of greenery on the back is going to be a flowing coat of leaves. Oh, and woolly rhinos and their relatives also sported massive horns, so this design, of course, has to have that. But we're going to have even more fun with that horn. If you remember, Rynosear had a single leaf on its back that it tried to seek shelter under, but it didn't really shield its nose, and Rynosear ended up with a sunburn. We're going to let that sunburn worsen with the evolution. The horn will be so sunburnt and will have absorbed so much solar energy that it will gain the fire typing. I'm really happy with this. I mean, I've seen a lot of amazing grass fire designs out there, usually being, like a chili pepper or tiki torches or pumpkins or something like that. But for filling in this unused typing, I'm glad that I found an in that I hadn't seen before. The colors are, similar to its pre-evolution, but I made sure to give it like a light-colored nostril to suggest that the burning fire now exists all the way inside its nose. Oh, and again, I got to have fun with the shiny by pulling in some autumn leaf inspiration. Checking off another unused type combination, here is Rynosear, the hot horn Pokémon. The sunburned spot on Rynosear's nose grows into a burning hot horn when it evolves. Rynosear try to stay positive but often struggle adapting to their new fire typing. When they are particularly grumpy, they run their itchy horns against trees, leaving long scorched grooves. Rynosear's leaves have a waxy coating to protect against their own horn's heat. Its ability is something I'm calling Flame Striker, so making contact with another Pokemon may leave it burned. Rynosear's unique typing proves difficult. You are finding that there are fewer Pokemon battles in the Palean region, but the trainers are far more challenging. Perhaps in the hypothetical game, there could be a difficulty setting, but in general, I love the idea of the Pokemon having wider coverage with their moves and their trainers using more effective tactics. So yeah, Rynosear is a toughie, but eventually you are able to defeat Professor Ginkgo. Professor Ginkgo congratulates you and lets you continue towards the end of Route 7. While you're making your way there, let's take a look at how your Pokédex is coming along. This channel is relatively new, but we have certainly been busy. When we go ahead and include the existing evolutions, we've filled in a little over half of our decks already. Now that's not to say that we won't be expanding our decks as we continue. The next bonus video isn't a design your ideas video, but another one of those will be coming up soon, so keep an eye out for that. Those extra designs are a fun way to expand things. We're currently sitting in the 130s, but I'm hoping we can hit 150 by the time we end the decks. But continuing on, you've reached the end of Route 7, a large gate leading to Rassi Junction. But we'll pick up on the other side in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching, and please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's episode, and which of the new Pokemon is your favorite, so tell me down in the comments below. A big thank you to the wonderful Erin for being Professor Ginkgo, she's just the best. Oh, and in the next bonus episode, I'll be doing some much needed rebalancing of the Pokemon type chart. I'll see you then. Bye!